Ladies and gentlemen, I have a wonderful guest. I have a female comedian, an entertainer from Chicago, Illinois. She's made history. We're going to get into that. She's co-founded Shanghai's Blackout Comedy. Is it the High Now Comedy?
Hey
Is it
now.
Hey Now? Excuse me.
Mhm.
I'm so sorry. She's
Oh, it's
also the
okay.
first Black comedian to perform in Mongolia at the inaugural Silk Road International Comedy Festival back in July 2019. You saw her at Flappers Comedy Club as well too. I did my homework. The one and only Erica Switzer.
Hey everybody. Thank you so much, Rom. I really appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you coming on, man. I don't know I don't know what Facebook group it was that we linked up at. Was it Displays Comedians or something? But I saw your work and I was pretty much amazed with it. To see somebody that looks like me and also a woman in comedy doing what you're doing. Can you tell us like your humble beginnings? Like how did you get into comedy?
Well, I had always been a comedy fan my whole life. My parents raised me on, uh, I would hear the stories of the other kids in my class. No one read Fox albums and Richard Pryor albums and stuff like that from age 10 up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my parents were raising me on Bebe's Kids and all that, Robin Harris and all that. Whoopi Goldberg was a huge influence for me, especially being little and seeing her do her one woman performance. That was a real big inspiration for me. But I didn't really start doing comedy until I got to China. I dabbled in and out. I'd done improv and a couple of comedy groups in high school and college. I wanted to do something at Second City. I just didn't know what. And I got into college and grad school and got these degrees in writing and didn't think to do anything with it because at the time I was graduating from grad school, it was 2008 and we were having that big recession and trying to get anything in education was not looking too good. So I wound up having to write for a living for a little bit. And then I didn't think to write comedy until 2013 when At Midnight came out on Comedy Central. And it reminded me this felt like Jeopardy for comedy, you know? So I got in on that, started doing hashtag wars, built up a little Twitter following from that from like 2013 to 2016. It was one of those things that helped me keep my head above water during a loveless marriage. Um, just falling back in love with comedy during that and setting out to pursue that as soon as I got to China. Because I knew to be over there, you got to have a purpose. There's two things you got to have. You got to have a college education in order to even get the visa, to get the paperwork, to get the approval to even be there, and a job lined up. You got to have a purpose. And I made sure that when I was getting divorced and deciding to press the reset button on life, I was going to pursue comedy and see where stand up comedy would take me in the most unlikely of places.
Yeah, China is definitely an unlikely place. That's nothing I never thought about was going to China.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody ever just thinks, I'm going to go eat, pray, loving through China. That's what I'm going to do. So,
Exactly. Can you tell us how did your first open mic go over in China? Your first
my,
show?
my first open mic went really
Okay.
well. And it was because aside from studying comedy as I always had and was always kind of like funny with friends, and people would tell me that I should look into doing it for real. Um, I just kind of had to give people a nice little 5 minute introduction of why is there a black woman standing in front of you in Shanghai, China, and people loved it.
Definitely. Definitely. So who are some of the comedians that you studied growing up?
Well, like I said, Whoopi Goldberg for sure, and how she was so versatile, so able to go from stand up to sketch to acting. Robin Harris, definitely. I remember my dad playing that Bebe's Kids tape and me listening and learning every joke and memorizing it like it was a song. So they were definitely early influences. Bernie Mac is definitely one of my biggest influences. To me, he epitomizes Chicago comedy. With that larger than life personality, and for us that have South Side, have down South accent
Mhm.
and those sensibilities and stuff. So Bernie is just one of my all-time favorites.
I hate to retract, but China. How did you end up in China? Just curious. How did that
Well,
go?
actually, the first time I'd ever visited China was 2008.
Hmm.
And it was a very different place. I have a very close friend who had been living there since graduating college and visited and kind of fell in love with Shanghai. It was a very different place in that smartphones had just been released on the market, but they weren't widely accessible. You would, during rush hour in the morning, people would be 4 to 5 in a row, just walking to work, more buses in the streets and all that. So there was something that was a little bit quaint about it, even though it was a big city. Felt like a big ass version of Chicago. Well, when I came back, it was like Blade Runner. So to see that kind of growth happen in a place that rapidly, I was, because he was always telling me, you should come over here. They pay teachers what they're worth. And I was like, this marriage ain't quite working out. What you say now? Let me go ahead and get this thing a shot.
I got you. So, comedy is a big passion of yours. I see it on your social media, your website. I follow you on everything, to be honest with you. Twitter,
Thank you.
Instagram, and Facebook, and YouTube.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Now, TikTok, I ain't quite the wave of that yet. But I see your sets and I notice your style. And who do you think do you say your style is more closer to like a mix of Whoopi Goldberg and Bernie Mac, or is it more like
I would say more like some more and Bernie Mac. Sometimes I like to consider myself the comedic love child of both of them because of some more in that sex appeal. And, I'm trying to bring a little bit of that. And I'm trying to bring the big bombastic storytelling like Bernie and telling it like it is. So I would definitely say both of them are huge when it comes to how I do what I do.
you okay? You seem kind of nervous.
Oh no, I'm fine.
Okay. I don't
I'm
know.
just I'm just very warm in my home right now.
But you got the AC, the heat blaring or something?
No, this lighting setup makes it feel like I'm having my own private hot girl summer right now. So
I got you.
it's at home studio.
I got a couple of lights going off in here. Yeah. So I understand. I definitely understand. Now, when you performed in Mongolia at the inaugural Silk Road International Comedy Festival, first black person, first black female to perform that, how was that experience? You made
Phenomenal.
history.
Exactly. I joke around and I say it's like when Shaka Khan met Genghis Khan. Um, but it's true. It was like nothing I ever imagined. It was naturally beautiful. There were a lot of hills and valleys. Valleys were very, very green and gorgeous, aside from like the Gobi Desert. Like when you're flying over that, you see why you can see that from space. It's amazing. Um, but like I said, the valleys were so green and fertile and gorgeous. The people were very warm, very, very friendly to us. And they actually listened to rap music more than anything else. I kid you not. When we went in the 7-Eleven, they were playing Tupac, How Do You Want It? And I was like, yo, I could stay here. So yeah, Mongolia was dope.
And you worked with some veteran comedians.
Mm-hmm.
So Simon Goodson, Martin
Yeah,
Stewart, and
Simeon.
Simeon. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Martin Stewart, Justin
Mateen.
Riviera, Martine.
Mateen
Okay,
Stewart and Justin Rivera.
I done chopped up all three of their names, but I chopped them. How? Ooh, I hope they don't listen to this one. Hold it against me.
Sorry, y'all.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't working with them.
It was amazing working with them. I was fortunate to be able to support them on some of their touring dates while they were in China. And first of all, it's always awesome to connect with other Americans when you're away and abroad. So it's next level when you're able to hang out with other American comedians over there with those same kind of sensibilities. So it was cool to support them. And uh, two brothers and a Filipino, I'm happy to support my people of color over there too.
That's dope. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go to you. Co-founded Blackout Comedy and High Now Comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Explain to us what that is. Like, what I seen it. I ain't really click into it, get too much into it, because I want to see if you can. No, well, not see, but I wanted you to explain a little bit more onto the podcast.
Okay. So by the time I was in Shanghai, I'd already had a built-in network, already knew all the Black folks. We stay connected by the means that we do by various social media and whatnot. And so I'd already known this is the person to go see if I want to get my hair done. This is the person I want to see if I need my taxes done. And, these are the people that you want to mess with if you are interested in entertainment. Come to meet these people, and they hadn't put on a Black comedy show of any sort in a couple of years. And me and the only other Black female comedian in town were like, hey, yo, let's do our own thing, because we've been busting our butts and these bigger clubs ain't really giving us that shot. And we know we got people out here. So we went ahead and we put on our first Blackout comedy show, and it sold out. We had people standing only in the bar, and we had to start turning people away. And it was packed wall to wall in the bar that we were at. And we made it feel like Def Comedy Jam in the middle of Shanghai, China, not just for expats, but especially for African American expats and African expats over there. So it was amazing. We were able to put on a good handful of successful shows. The co-founder wound up having to leave the country, and I continued on with Hey Now Comedy, and we continued doing shows from there. Hence, we were able to do shows with Mateen. So I was able to support Mateen and support Simeon on their own shows, and they came through for Hey Now Comedy shows. And so it was really cool to be able to put on for our people over there and make it really feel like home.
Yeah, I think we like. I've been talking to some other comedians who was talking about doing the whole like Wu-Tang thing, like just doing our own thing, putting on our own shows. But the pandemic, of course, has slowed us down some in Virginia. Like, I mean, I went from going to 5 or 6 open mics to getting on a Zoom show probably once every 2 months, every 2 weeks now.
Mm.
So how has the pandemic affected your stand-up? How do you feel about Zoom comedy?
I knew it was inevitable. And I had even had my first taste of Zoom comedy in March of last year, because when the pandemic broke out, those first few weeks of feeling like a bit of a sitting duck in Shanghai, I was like, yo, once this thing starts spreading, it's going to get to the States and it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad by then. Right. And I made the decision to go home. Very expensive to get out of there at that time. But I went home, and I was home. I was like telling folks, hey, yo, shit about to be wild. But let me go ahead and get on the stage real quick. Right. And let me enjoy this time that I have with my family, because I might not get it back. I don't know what the hell's about to happen. But when I came back, because it was like, hey, yo, the US is about to start closing up. Our school put out an email, said all staff and students and families outside of China, come back right now. And so had to get on back over there. I had already had shows in China scheduled and had to get canceled. Um, but when I came back on like March 18th, got COVID tested and all that, was cleared to go back to my apartment and all that. I was like, yo, I understand I have to be quarantine, but I got comedy shows to run. I had an open mic that I was running and stuff. So for the first couple of weeks that I had to be back there and on quarantine, we tried it. And I tried it with a handful of Chicago comics that I knew and a handful of Shanghai-based comics that I knew. And I was like, yo, this is something that is going to have to be here to stay for a while. It saved my life, for lack of a better term. I don't know how else I could put it. With coming back here and getting into virtual. Because as our stages started closing, I was able to, come here and feel connected with so many different markets and so many different cool comics from all parts of the country. I was worried about how I would be received when I came back home. And knowing that I was kind of making some inches into Chicago, it was like, hey, yo. So winning Flapper Super Bowl in October and all that, and getting booked for show after show after show and getting paying shows, it has been a lifesaver for me. Keeps me fresh, keeps me writing new material, keeps me sharp. And I'm looking forward to getting back on the live stages. But in the meanwhile, it's really been a blessing to me.
It has. My first Zoom show was like July or June of last year. Mm-hmm. And then I started fucking around with this app called a live show app a couple of weeks ago. And I was still podcasting. And then I got blessed with an interview from a famous comedian. And he's like, I'll put you on my morning radio show. He put me on the morning radio show. And he actually sat down and schooled me. He was like, look, it's money in Zoom shows. It's the new wave. You may not like it, but that's what it's going to be like. And he said you have to find a way to transition from actual stand-up to the Zoom shows. Like I did Chocolate Sundays like 2 weeks ago, and I just saw a guy just bomb because he just, boom, gave up. Have you ever had that inclination in your head where it's like, man, this is Zoom comedy. I don't have a live audience. There's no intimate setting. Like if I was at a bar, or I'm at a restaurant, or even on the stage at a comedy club. Have you ever had that inclination set in your head?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because I'm the kind of person where as soon as that microphone is in my hand, it's on. And I'm at that point in my comedy career where I'm able to do always funny behind the scenes, Erica, in front of people, regardless of if it's on stage or on Zoom. So it's not lost on me that when you're in front of a live audience, that kind of energy is so different than when you're sitting in front of your laptop and your webcam, right? What are you thinking about then? The timing. You're thinking about if you're going to hear somebody else's laughter and that's going to throw your beats off. But I've never opened up, done a Zoom show and said, nah, I ain't got it tonight. I've never done that. I'm going to find something, right? I'm the kind of, I like watching shows and observing. If I know certain people, I know little characteristics and stuff, I can do some crowd work. Like I said, as soon as it's on, as soon as I got the mic in my hand, when the show is on, I'm on.
I respect it. So as comedians, we always branch out into different things and still go back to our comedy backgrounds. Is there anything that you want to like go into as far as comedy? Are you looking to get more into writing or directing or acting or animation or something?
I would say a little bit of everything. Cause I feel like I have a form of gifted kid ADHD. And I just get so restless with projects. I always work on something, see them through. But I had 3, 4 different things going on at one time, right? So the same thing for me with comedy. I would love to be able to take this into sketch writing, into um, eventually doing bigger scripts or bigger shows. And I'm looking at doing some graphic design and some animation and stuff, hence the revamping of the kind of aesthetic I'm doing on my social media and my ericaswitzer.com site. So I'm working.
I mean, I think now with the now I know now with the pandemic, like this is the time to work. As soon as we get off work, it's just straight writing podcasts or whatever. So I think it's a time to take advantage of this downtime. You know what I mean?
If anything, I feel like it's helped a lot of us, especially as comedians, dig deep into that passion that we have for it and either should have get off the pot for lack of a better term. Because, folks that's just sitting back thinking, nah, I'm going to sit this year out, man. I don't want to do that Zoom stuff. I don't want to do that. Hey, you missed out.
You
You've been
did.
missing out.
Like you can't be away from this too long.
You can't.
Like you can't. Like you lose your pace, you lose your timing, you lose a lot of stuff, man. And people don't realize that you gotta get your reps in and like like recording yourself, um, practicing in the mirror, your Zoom shows, a live show up, all that stuff just got stuff and networking. And if you guys got time, I say podcast too, because that helps you connect with people. God knows
Exactly.
just put me in some connections with people. And you're like the second female comedian I've had up here because I don't know if I told you, but like a lot of times, man, you be fighting that tempting, like, dang, she cute. Should I shoot my shot? Should I get the interview? I'm like, oh shit. And he be like, oh, if I shoot my shot, she might not do the interview. But if I do the interview, she might think I'm just doing the interview to shoot my shot. So you be in your mind. I always joke around with this because I was talking to a buddy about this. Have you had any problems since? Do you like tell people in the beginning, like, I'm a comedian, or do you wait? Or have you had any type of weird experience with somebody that's tried to, like, you tried to, I guess, shoot your shot at somebody, they shot it at you, and they didn't take you serious because they see you on the stage or anything like that? I know that's a weird question, but I was joking around with somebody about this the other day.
I have had a lot of very interesting moments. Comedy, look, how blue is your show, bro?
What you mean, blue?
Like, how much cussing do you allow on your show, bro?
Look, I allow a lot of cussing on the show. I don't edit for anybody out there because I like a raw content. It's weird, but I love it like that. So if you want to go ahead and let it rip, let it rip. Okay, sips a drink.
Comedy has thrown so much penis at me. More than normal. Don't get me wrong. I do pretty well by myself. I do all right by my own. But doing comedy, even the male comedians in the scene would match with me on Tinder and stuff. And I'm sitting here like, bro, we on back to back at the open mic right now, and you didn't just matched me. We doing this. You know me. Could have asked for some coffee or something. I mean, but this kind of stuff would happen to me. I have some jokes that I tell about some of the different profiles I would see, like some of the weird names these dudes would get themselves, like Donut and Odd and Loser. And it's like, really? I'm a swipe right on you, really? I had one guy say, I just saw you perform comedy. If I would have only read your profile, I wouldn't have matched with you. And I'm sitting here like, if you can't love me at my seriousness, right? So that was a little interesting. I felt like, are you negging me or are you calling me a good comedian? Like, what are you trying to do? Are you still trying to holler? what is that? So it's been interesting how people have shot their shots with me just doing comedy.
I don't know. Just give it to God, I guess. I don't know.
I still flirt on stage. I still holler. I like to remind my boyfriend I cheat. I would like to. It's all good.
I had the weirdest experience probably like a couple of days ago. Facebook got Facebook dating. And I signed up for it, but I didn't realize that your profile picture is going to be your profile picture on Facebook dating.
Oh.
So lo and behold, I have a microphone in my hand and I'm on the stage. That's the picture. So I get a girl, we match up and we're talking. And she goes, "You do stand up?" I said, "How'd you know?" And I'm like, "Shit, the picture is right there." And she goes, "I have hours of material. Maybe you can help me with my set." Well, I'm thinking to myself, you're coming fresh into the game. I'm not going to put you down. But you never perform stand up and you think that you have hours of good material. I don't think you even have a good solid 5 minutes at the most. Have you studied? Have you watched the craft? Did you go to comedy school? Did you do any of this stuff? Nah, but I have hours of material. My shit's funny. I said, okay, let me hear it. She never let me hear it. So she sends me another message and says, "Tell me a joke." I'm sorry, what? Tell me a joke. I said, would you walk up to a Kevin Hart or a Cat Williams or a Dave Chappelle and see them and say, "Hey, tell me a joke"? She said, "No, but I'm telling you to tell you a joke." I said, "No, I'm not going to tell a joke. That's disrespectful. One, I'm not just on the spot going to just tell you a joke. I get paid for my jokes now. So we're not doing this. Have you ever had somebody just walk up to you just randomly be like, "Yo, Erica, tell me a joke"? Like,
right. I've had very similar experiences. Hence what I said about the one guy that said if I would have just seen your comedy, it would have been like, really? My comedy got your dick hard? Really? So I don't understand. Like, if somebody catches that you're a singer in your profile, so hey, you must be Tony. No, don't turn a first impression into American Idol. That's not what happened. Like, why is it with us as comedians, folks feel like they want to run material? This ain't a workshop, and this is not Last Comic Standing. Stop. Like, I do. When there's a firefighter in the Tinder profile, do you go set your shit on fire on purpose to get their fine ass over there? Like, what? Why? Don't coerce people into that kind of stuff. We get paid for this shit. Don't be trying to. You become material for us for free. But don't make us have to do it. Don't force us. Because we'll eat off of that.
Yeah, sure as hell will. Because God knows I ain't got a set. I need to build up off of that. I'm like, damn, there's some fresh material, bro. I can at least get a easy 5 minutes just off of that stupid shit that she was just saying.
I just got 2 off it.
Like, I'm like, oh my God. It's like the dumbest shit ever. It's so disrespectful to the craft, man. Right. I mean, I had one situation, like, no lie. I went to open mic. Now I'm cheap. I don't care what anybody says. I went to open mic. I got paid in the drink tickets. So they gave me 4 drink tickets. I don't drink alcohol at all. No liquor, no nothing. Just straight water and juice. I said, hey, I'm going to this brewery to perform. You're more than welcome to come out with me. I'm thinking to myself, damn, I'm about to go ahead and get these 4 drink tickets. Boom, get here to 4 drinks. I ain't got to come out of pocket for nothing. Straight attitude with me the whole time. I sat there and improv a clear 5 minutes of material on dating. I ain't heard from her since. I ain't
That's
heard from her
it.
ass. I did that shit on purpose. I got irritated because, like, so I think a lot of people, when you get irritated, you get a lot of good material.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. You got to find a righteous target for that hostility, though. You can't just unleash. But when stuff like that happens, when you see a profile of somebody who's a psychiatrist, do you just meet and go, "Hey, Sandy, this is you, right? Nice to meet you, Sandy. My mother says I'm borderline." No, you don't do that. You don't do that. We don't. It's one thing about showing people who you are, but don't make us audition on the first date. Don't do that. That's uncomfortable.
It's horrible. And now with the social media thing, I don't know if you run into, well, you got your name as your Instagram. There's a lot of Rome Davises out there. And I don't want to go by Jerome Davis out there because of fucking Martin. But like, it's even harder now when you actually have to give them you're like, oh, I'm gonna follow you on IG. I'm like, yo, follow me at Rome Funny _89. Make sure you guys do that. And I'm like, damn, I'm like sitting here telling, I know she's scrolling through the pictures. I know she's on my Facebook. I know she's just checking shit out. They just ask you dumb shit all the time. Oh gosh. It's just dumb. It's so we're gonna go ahead and try and end this off on a good note. Name your top 5 comedians, dead or alive, with a starting 6-man. Any order.
Bernie Mac, Dave Chappelle, some more, Lunel, Joan Rivers. Who I got 6? Damn, that's hard. Earthquake.
You got a good
I
lineup.
think Earthquake is probably the best 6-man you come up with that lineup.
Yeah, I have for myself Michael Collier, and everybody's gonna find out why it's Michael Collier. Michael Collier, Ali Sadiq, Jerry Seinfeld, Melanie Camacho, Tyler Craig, 6-man coming off the bench, Cat Williams.
Nice.
So if anybody wanted to follow you or get in contact with you via YouTube, see your shows, what can they follow you at?
Well, thank you so much for following me on all those social media platforms. Just find me at ericaswitzer.com, and then you can get that hookup to all those great social media platforms I'm on that I have the time for. Not the ones that I got to learn whole dances for, although I am on there building slowly but steadily. I have a lot of cool stuff coming up. As Rome was on Chocolate Sundays, First Impressions, I'll be on it Wednesday, April 28th. I'm also doing a Flappers virtual headliner. Flappers presents Erica Switzer on Friday, April 23rd, featuring Dario Durham, my homie from Chicago, one of the best out here doing it, hosted by Amanda Cohen. And I'm back at it live in person in the Chicago area at the end of the month. But go to ericaswitzer.com to find out how.
Hey, for all y'all that's like listening to, Chocolate Sundays is the biggest comedy club on the West Coast in LA. Make sure you go do it. Vote for Erica. All you have to do if you want to get tickets, click the link in her bio. Go on her website, and you have to just make a donation of $1. But make sure you vote for Erica, because if she wins, when she wins, she gets $2,021, and she gets a chance to headline like 3 times over there. So by all means, vote. I came in 4 out of 8. I'm fine with that because I've only been doing comedy 2 years. I got the exposure. So make sure you go vote for her. Thank you. Make sure you vote for her. Make sure you go to her website, support, follow, like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow me at RomeFunny _89. Follow the podcast on Instagram at No ID Podcast. But make sure that you guys click that link in their bio. It's going to take you to any one of my works that I'm doing, any one of the links that I'm on. By all means, support this Black content, this Black media, Black female comedians, Black content in general. We out.